Good evening. It's been raining all day. I've been bored as hell, so I had to put myself to work. This is what I do. This is my studio. It's a storyboard behind me. And Governor Hogan has a campaign opening this week, so this is going to be at his campaign opening. I'm invited. I'm on the guest list, and I don't want no problems. I'm a black Republican. I'm also a registered voter. And as a black Republican and as a registered voter, I deserve the right to speak to Governor Hogan. And Governor Hogan needs to address the issues I put on his plate. We got black votes and black voices that's going to be heard in 2018. Mass incarceration, homelessness, the prison industry, zero tolerance, stop and frisk. These ills that have been affecting Baltimore City and Baltimore County for the last 20 years are going to be addressed, period. And I'm going to do it in a public way. I'm not going to act out. I ain't going to act up. Governor got legal mail in his possession, and Constitution stated he got to address that legal mail so he can do it one way or the other. All I want is what belongs to me. So this is what we're going to do. Tape and glue. Googly eyes, money. Alright, this is my workstation. I'm getting ready to work on you. I'm going to use the Constitution too. I'm going to show you that blacks have no rights in America, which white America respects. I'm 5'3". I'm not 3/5 of a man. Remember that. I'm just following in the footsteps of Martin Luther King. I'm going to publicly shame you into doing the right thing. Walking in the shadow of kings. Y'all talk about Frederick Douglass. Y'all did all these events. Well, I was doing this since 2006. Alright? Frederick Douglass, Narrative of a Slave, written by himself. It's about being black and white America. Mayor Moxley of Waukegan, Caminets. And this, like I said, this is for Governor Hogan. This is your grand opening. You're going to have to tell the voters about this paperwork. Because, see, I'm a black Republican. A registered Republican. And we're going to talk about art and activism. You feel me? We're going to talk about black faces that carry out a white agenda of white supremacy in Baltimore County. We're going to talk about the corruption in the courts. And we're going to talk about the money that you spend in the corruption in the courts. Talking about the criminalization of poverty. And I'm going to give you something to see. You feel me? We're going to talk about Bobby Zirkin. We're going to talk about the money that the bail bondsman put in Baltimore County courts. In the judge's hands. And in the prisoners. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about that racketeering. Like Operation Greylord in Chicago in 1986. We're going to talk about the corruption in your courts. We're going to talk about how Governor O'Malley orchestrated and created this. Alright? In his machine. We'll talk about the police department. We're going to talk about Mayor Pugh. We're going to talk about the state's attorney. And I got everything in Judge Bennett's office, so we don't have no misunderstandings. Like I said, I'm coming to your event, and I'm going to bring this with me. And we're going to address this through your police department. Because I asked for an audit. I asked for a federal and a state audit. I don't want you to get me for income tax evasion like you did D'Souza. Or the way that you did Marcus Garvey. I want an audit now. And I asked for it from the FBI, Special Agent Richard McFeely. Y'all took the originals. These are copies. You took the originals when you arrested me in 2011. But I had a backup plan. That's Mr. O'Neill. Alright? And that's from 2011. Because like I said, arts and promotion, art and activism. And I know how to act artistically correct. I'm talking about your courts. Judge Turnbull. Like I said, it's the Underground Railroad. He participated with the Underground Railroad with Harriet Tubman. I got the Underground Railroad was my store on Falls Road. And we're talking about the same ills that you had in the 1800s, in 1864, 1964, 2004, 2014. It's about our access to the courts. Do blacks have rights in which white America respects? Well, we're going to put the court on trial. That's what we're doing. We're putting the court on trial. talking about mass incarceration in the prison industry. We're talking about Rikers Island, the 13th Amendment, the return. No, we're going to talk about Baltimore County. And we're going to show you how he been selling us out. We're going to talk about how Kurt Anderson been selling out black people for the last 15 years. You know what I'm saying? As long as I've been knowing him, he ain't did nothing for the black community when it comes to mass incarceration. You feel me? So this movie's going to talk about your public and elected officials that sell out the black community for mass incarceration. My activism is very clear in Baltimore City. It's very well documented. You feel me? So we're going to bring Judge Turnbull into the mix, and we're going to bring everything in timed and dated. Judge Turnbull, this letter is respectfully written. The Honorable Judge Turnbull. All right? Case number. Attorney Shellenberger. Because see, Shellenberger's your weakest link. He the one that's going to snitch on y'all. If y'all have a federal investigation, in which I'm asking for, if you had a grand jury like I'm asking for, Shellenberger going to snitch. Like I said, this is about Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and your government. And the militarization of your community. It's the criminalization of poverty. You talk about immigration, well, we need to talk about America. Because you ain't making America great again. You're making America hate again. And you ain't doing nothing to help us. White supremacy don't exist without black faces. White supremacy don't exist without black cooperation. Y'all talked about the war on drugs and you want to give opioid treatment while you incarcerated black America? I have no sympathy. Just like The Wire, I'm going to give you Baltimore Rewired. Except I'm going to give it to you about your candidates. I'm going to show you about your candidates and the corruption in their pockets. The money that they get. Kamenetz left this void open. So Redmer and Johnny O, you got to deal with what he left on the table. You got to deal with it too. Because like I said, the movie's about mass incarceration. And mass incarceration is passed through the Senate and the Congress. It's passed through these individuals that you got elected. You said you're going to give me access to the grand jury. You said it on film, on file, and we're going to see if you give me access to the grand jury. 2019, that's going to be on your tray. 2018 legislation, we're going to address mass incarceration. This ain't my fight. This is our struggle. Either you part of it, and you got to do what you got to do. Feel me? We are requesting that all state and local officials around the city of Zion, all right? We're also employing the appropriate officials in the state of Maryland to assist Shorty. You a state elected official. You supposed to assist Shorty. This is a petition. I have a right to petition my government to address issues. It's under the Constitution. You are these elected officials. You feel me? Right here. State of Maryland, assist Shorty. You the state of Maryland. You the state of Maryland. You the black faces that's selling out black people. And I asked y'all about this. But I did one better than this. Y'all know me for Shorty as the barbecue guy. Yeah. I'm Shorty the barbecue guy. I'm Shorty the activist. I'm Shorty a lot of things. And I got a lot of hats. My community service is one of my hats. All right. And Governor Hogan got my community service. You feel me? My community service. These are people in the community. Just a couple signatures. But like I said, that toilet, it was artwork and evidence for a federal investigation. The federal investigation was about the courts in Baltimore City and Baltimore County. It was about Scott Shellenberger. It was about how Scott Shellenberger abuses his prosecutorial discretion. I want the federal government to go over Scott Shellenberger's cases, his black cases and his white cases and his Hispanic cases. I want to show the racism in his courts and his prosecution. I want to show prosecutorial discretion that's been abused. Then I'm going to show the money that the judges and the lawyers get paid. I'm going to show you how Bobby Zirkin's law firm, Judge Turnbull's law firm, and other law firms have a relationship with the courts which is absolutely corrupt. It's the play-to-play politics in Maryland. And I just put it on film. Now, anything that I got to say, you can get from the grand jury, because I applied for the grand jury, turned this into the grand jury. You feel me? Judge Cox got it. Supposed to give me access to the courts. Get it one way or the other. Since you don't want to give me access, I'm going to make a movie about your courts. And all this is information is open to the public. It's on public display. We're going about the Constitution, all right? And I'm going to break down the Constitution and the role that the senators and the congressmen are supposed to play in it, our elected officials. It's called checks and balances. Constitution of the United States. I'm going to break you down. I'm going to show you the laws that you broke. And it's sitting in the Department of Justice hands. So like I said, this is for your grand opening. The ills that we got in Baltimore City gonna change. This is not gonna be acceptable in 2018. So Governor Hogan, WJZ, WBAL, Fox 45, Baltimore Sun, get the story straight this time around. It's the narrative of a slave. I am Frederick Douglass. I am Emmett Till. I am Dred Scott. I am Tyrone West. I'm black in white America. Remember that.